Dear DinnerBone, you have a long and illustrious history with Bukkit and even things before that helped make Minecraft a viable and useful game. For that, I'm sure we are all grateful. You were a diligent and hard worker, living off your own savings after you lost your job. I don't remember what they call it in Europe. Redundancy, because I guess they didn't need as many employees. You took some big risks to create Bukkit. I'm not surprised Mojang hired you. I'm not surprised a curse hired you. You're a hard worker. I would respectfully request, however, that you read an article in the Penny Arcade Report. The title is Why Your Games Are Made by Childless 31-Year-Old White Men and How One Studio is Fighting Back. I'm going to read you a paragraph from that article, sir, and I'll link it below in the description. The subheading is Expectations of Insanity. Did you know if you don't claim to work 80 hours a week, potential investors will probably shun you? You don't even get the respect from some of your peers in game development who think that not working crazy hours is, quote, lazy, end quote. He explained. I should quote who this is. I can't pronounce it. It's Boucher Vidal, I think. Those are the people who put pressure onto others to work more hours. The same people who will please their leads most and go up the ladder eventually to feed this vicious cycle of immaturity. You are correct about developers being stunted teenagers. I've worked with them long enough to admit that. This is a quote from Guillaume Boucher Vidal. He worked in quality assurance at Activision for 3 years and founded the studio Nine Dots. His argument is that people with any sort of maturity, with families, cannot possibly keep up the schedule of gaming. And as a result, I would argue that gaming does not represent any but 31-year-old white males. And I see a real problem with what the direction that Minecraft is taking. Minecraft started out as a beautiful little sandbox game, but now things are happening, sir, that a lot of us who paid for the game did not agree to. Being attacked by swarms of zombies, even at the easier levels. I was in a cave in creative mode and I saw clusters of mobs spawning all in one cavern. We just know that there's lots of mobs. We also hear that the longer a player stays in a given area, the harder the mobs will become. I don't know what that means. Does that mean there's more of them? That they're nerfed so that they're even tougher? The skeletons are almost impossible to deal with now. You're introducing hostile mobs apparently on horseback because you have a zombie horse and a skeleton horse. Today's latest snapshot, well, I guess it's yesterday's latest snapshot now, has nerfed golden apples so that it requires 8 ingots instead of 8 nuggets of gold to make a golden apple. Sir, some of us only use golden apples to cure zombie villagers. Why is this happening? You've messed up glistening melons, so they're harder. You've messed up healing and regeneration potions, so they don't work as well. They take longer to take effect. How are some of us ever going to be able to kill a wither skeleton? Do you know that some of us are older? Do you realize that some of us have disabilities? Do you realize that some of us are children? Some of us have to operate equipment that isn't the highest end equipment. I can only operate my game on this little laptop for about 10 minutes at a time, or my laptop starts getting too hot, especially if I'm running Bandicam. Some of us are not playing on fancy, expensive equipment, sir. You used to be low income, working your hiney off to get buckets started. You must know what it's like to struggle. And we didn't agree to this game that you're creating, where everybody's going to be playing player versus player and role playing games, and we didn't buy this game for this. We bought the game for other reasons. Some of us like to build. You don't pay attention to the builders. You don't pay attention to anything except what you're interested in. Now, I watched you in Ultra Hardcore. You did play like a noob. First cave you went in, you went down in it and you say, "Oh, I'm not going to bother to cover the top because nobody will probably come down here." Bad mistake. Second mistake, you go past cows. Instead of killing them, you're punching grass. You should have kept the cows so you'd have armor. Why weren't you killing the cows? Because you hadn't made a sword, not even a wooden one. So you ended up with what? One piece of leather. You went down into that second cave. You still didn't have a sword. You start messing around in your crafting bench so that you can start digging iron and stuff. You had no weapons, you had no armor, and Doc killed you. Correction, Mr. Dinnerbone, you killed yourself. So now you've got all these highfalutin ideas because you got to play with the boys at MindCrack on Ultra Hardcore. That's not the only game there is. There's no wrong way to play Minecraft. And you're creating a game that's so nerfed, so buffed, and so mangled that those of us who paid for it are struggling to be able to play it anymore. As much as I would like to have them, I would love to have a donkey with a backpack. You can keep your horses and your donkeys and your mules. Give me back my game so that I can play it. You made it hard enough to play vision impaired. I can't see the hitbox. The controls are difficult to operate with small motor function issues. It's hard to play the game well when you're hearing impaired because you need to know what is making the sound, from what direction it is making the sound, and whether or not it is getting closer to you. So, hearing impaired people are in trouble, and nobody has made a mod to make those sounds visual. Mr. Dinnerbone, please leave my game alone. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.